All right, friends, welcome to today's video. And today it's going to be quite an important one, so definitely stick around until the very end. What's currently happening in crypto is absolutely unbelievable and really quite disgusting. We're still on Solana, and we're in an absolutely brutal decline, something truly unbelievable that we haven't seen in a long time. Currently, we are down over 55% from the all-time high. Right now, all liquidity in the market is really drying up, which means there is significantly less money available for trading and investment activities. Unfortunately, those types of financial challenges and market conditions are becoming bigger and more impactful than we all initially thought, even more than we had hoped for in our optimistic scenarios. That means we are currently at prices that are, I'd say, about 15% lower on Solana than we were before the elections, which is a significant drop and reflects the current market sentiment and investor confidence, which is just crazy. Which is really unimaginable, which I think means the RSI is brutally oversold. We haven't been at these levels basically since June 2023. On the daily chart, it's really a brutal situation. We've lost the yearly open, we've lost pretty much everything. And currently, things are definitely not looking good for Solana. And if I look at it from the weekly chart, Solana is currently in its first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth week, or 5 consecutive candles closing in a downtrend, which hasn't happened before. If I don't count something relatively insignificant, this hasn't happened since the fall, or rather before the FTX collapse. It's been quite a while since we've seen such a brutal downtrend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I don't count that, something relatively insignificant here hasn't happened since the fall, or rather before the fall of FTX. Here it was basically, when I arrived, if I were to write it, 60% in 1 week. But we haven't seen such a brutal downtrend for quite a while. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, it can still go much further, probably much further, which of course isn't very pleasant. We've also written off nearly 20% right now, which is just crazy. BTC is still in a brutal uptrend, and I think we're heading for that 64.5%, which is really sad. The RSI is absolutely not oversold right now, so it looks like we can go far up. If we look at the BTC graph, we are currently also very low on the daily. Honestly, when I look at it, we're lower than we were for some reason, and I don't really know why we dropped like this, but we've been going down basically since the beginning of the year. That's, when I look at it, a yearly low, which is not nice at all. It's not a nice sight at all. I won't lie, I'm feeling really down about it. I think it's like most of the market. After all, BTC is also very oversold. In fact, it doesn't look good at all. As for other altcoins, it's not looking very good either. What is holding up relatively well is BNB, which I would say is one of the few altcoins still doing okay in a relative uptrend. So I shorted it. I think I mentioned that in my last video, although I'm not sure if I managed to include it from this video, but I did manage to short it somewhere around here, around $700, when there was some speculation about the launch of my coins from Kanye West. So currently, as far as Solana is concerned, I don't want to make any specific predictions at all. I think that, as I say, the range we had here should have slowed us down in some way, but it's crazy. It's crazy that we were at 160 before Trump was elected, although of course the probability was increasing the closer the election got. So the market was getting more and more nervous. Of course, there was some nervousness, but we are really at values of Solana that we haven't seen for a very long time, or rather, since November 2nd or 5th, when the elections were, or actually back in October. So currently, it's mostly fine, but as I say, there's probably no point in completely flip-flopping here after it wrote off such brutal percentages. It made sense to be bearish here or here, but in my opinion, from a risk-reward perspective, it doesn't make much sense to be bearish here, because then we wrote off 50%, we can clearly write off another 20%. But the upside there for me is like much further. I'm not saying we're going to get there right away. Definitely not. However, we're looking at about plus 100% where we can look long-term. I think the current thesis of sell in May and walk away is more of a thesis. Sell ASAP and maybe a definite comeback sometime in September. Currently, there's really nothing happening for Solana until the end of this month because of the Solana unlocked. Anyway, I think that as a technology, it's still improving. More and more people are using it. Yes, we were in a phase of extreme greed here, and from the lows, we were up 150%, which at some point in time, it even managed to outperform BTC, which was quite unexpected. Sol BTC also appears to be in a really bad state because we've gotten stuck in this particular structure, a situation that you definitely need to address sooner rather than later to avoid potential issues. However, we are being held here by this current support, which if it breaks, so it really won't be pretty. Yeah, we would be looking at Solana dropping below $100. Currently, what would confirm longs, getting back to the levels we were at regarding Solana, of course, there's a very, very clear invalidation for any sort of short-term bearish sentiment, which is reclaiming the yearly open, which from the current position, it's about plus 40%, which is obviously a lot. So let's take a look at the rest. Something occurred. There was also a problem regarding FTX, or rather, sorry, regarding BYBIT, where it became clear, of course, as I think you all read about it. Anyway, BYBIT managed to recover relatively quickly through liquidations, but currently it doesn't look too good from this perspective. Anyway, the main thing is that BYBIT was saved and they communicated it very, very well. I have to commend Ben from BYBIT, who really made sure there was no fat. Although 400,000 Ether was lost, which is undoubtedly an extremely significant amount, the hackers are currently trying to launder it via BTC and other methods. So as expected, of course, I'm truly glad that it actually turned out so incredibly well for BYBIT in the end. And I wish BYBIT all the best for an incredibly successful and prosperous future in the coming years. No, I still have some summary regarding why Bitcoin has dropped so much. We've fallen below $90,000. So everyone is overestimating the tariffs on Mexico and Canada. And of course, everyone hoped that it would be canceled, but currently it looks like it will be implemented. Anyway, now that everyone is pricing it in, and the moment it actually happens and nothing actually happens, it may be more important for the market that currently actually, whenever everyone looks like a loser, everyone looks like a fart. So at that moment, it is best to scale the market. Of course, at that moment, most people don't have the ammunition to put in, which is definitely a disadvantage in these markets. And if you're really lucky and you didn't just get into crypto right now, then you have the problem that you're mostly already allocated and you've been buying the dip and the dip and the dip and the dip, which, considering that BTC is at 89 or 88, is actually pretty unfortunate. It's actually around being at 89 or 88 is actually pretty unfortunate, The current market is down by 20% from the all-time high, which is a significant drop, something like that. However, this isn't that bad when you consider the broader context. This means that there are declines in stock prices, and this trend is affecting various sectors and industries. Investors are seeing a decrease in their portfolio values and so on. And of course, ETFs aren't buying that much. The only one really buying is Michael Saylor, who is obviously an absolute idiot because he buys at absolute tops. His average purchase price was about $97,000 over the last week. So I just don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen with Saylor, whether he'll keep buying in a bear market, which would actually interest me. Also, there's generally some inherent level of uncertainty in the market. Of course, it appears as though Donald Trump won't create a Bitcoin reserve in the first 100 days of his presidency, in the initial phase of his presidency. On the other hand, if he were to do something potentially positive right now, it would be like a significant and brutal white swan impact on the market as a whole in a way that is unexpected and unprecedented. That means the opposite of a black swan, and we would suddenly be very, very bullish, and everything can turn around in just one day. At the same time, in the market, we've indeed lost some moving averages, etc. So currently, I don't know if I can honestly say we're losing the uptrend as it stands. Anyway, those corrections can definitely be big. On the other hand, when everyone is hovering around the 70K support, it often might not happen at all because everyone is waiting there. And when everyone is waiting there and wants to buy in, then that target won't be hit. So it's hard to say, honestly, if Trump wants to save it somehow. I think he does. Then it could be at least short term, something closer. in my honest and personal opinion. I definitely recommend keeping an eye on what's happening in the exchanges and in the whole world of investing, to be completely honest, and observe very closely and carefully in the financial markets and globally as well, and stay very well informed. BNB is currently performing quite well in the current market conditions. One of the few altcoins that Binance is relatively protecting a lot. So I see that as a positive thing in the cryptocurrency space. Well, let's take a quick look at the hype. Honestly, when it comes to positions, I don't really want to mention it too much. I did buy some altcoins, Jupiter, Solana, Bonk. These three things, I picked up some Hyperliquid, but as I said, it doesn't look good right now. As for Hyperliquid, it's relatively good. I picked up some spot BTC. I picked up some spot hype. Right now, I'm down on BTC, but I've already bought in for $4,000, which isn't too bad. Just a few weeks ago, it was at 0. So I'm currently starting to position myself in BTC DESE. And we'll see what can be done with that. By the way, Hyperliquid has launched, as you can see here, EVM, spot BTC, and native multisig. So for me, that's great. The updates are coming in, so I see it as very positive. You can see my purchases here. I also took some on futures, but unfortunately it liquidated one of my positions, as you can see here. If I were to open a new one, it would currently be slightly in the red again. So would I currently recommend opening long positions? Probably not. I would recommend buying spot, buying BTC, things you believe in long term, whether it's Solana, Hype, BTC. Actually, like at that moment when everything falls apart, it doesn't really matter what you buy. Or actually, you know, it still depends. You don't want to buy complete dog shit. But everything is going to drop anyway, whether it's this or that. Anyway, you want to buy something that has a future, for sure. I just mean that if you have some longs down right now, then going out and massively buying something else, if that makes sense for longs, I don't think it really does. So, as I say, it looks very bearish right now, on the other hand. At the moment when everyone is bearish, it's good to be bullish. And when everyone is bullish, it's good to be more cautious. Not necessarily bearish, but careful. So I hope you liked this video. As I said, it's not very positive. On the other hand, let's not spread any panic here that we're just going to zero. I think it's very unlikely, but unfortunately, it really doesn't appear that visually appealing or even remotely promising. So, if you truly liked this particular video, definitely let me know down in the comments section below. If you are interested in joining our VIP Discord, now is your chance. You can write a comment below where you change the word Crypto Cafe, and I'll pick 1 or 2 of you to give you a week to try out our VIP Discord completely for free. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for sticking around until the very end, and hopefully we'll see each other very soon in the next video.